Good evening, everyone. We're going to wait a few moments just for everyone to join us tonight. We do have a full session tonight. We are beyond capacity, so excited to see you all and share more about pre-health advising here at Syracuse University. So we're going to wait just for a few more moments for everyone to join into the Zoom space. Feel free to grab some water to get comfortable. It's going to be an engaging, but definitely a really interesting next 45 minutes together as we talk about pre-health advising and the opportunities at Syracuse University. So we're going to wait just a few more seconds for you to come into the space. If you are wanting to take notes so you can share with family members, that's great. We recommend you don't share this link outside of your immediate family just because we are at capacity, but excited to be able to share more with you in just a few moments. But I'm going to kick things off and begin. My name is Mike McGrath. Excited to welcome you tonight virtually to Syracuse University to share more about opportunities for pre-health at Syracuse. I want to give a little instruction about the space that we're in. You're welcome to submit questions that you may have using the Q&A feature. Please note that we will do our best to answer the questions tonight. But if you do have additional questions later on, feel free to reach out to not only our staff, but the College of Arts and Sciences as well, and we'll put their information within the chat for you to be able to access. A couple things tonight is not. We are not going to cover the university at large. I'd recommend that you attend one of our virtual information sessions on Monday evenings at 7 p.m., so same time, Monday evenings, if you're looking to get general information about Syracuse University. If you have specific questions about majors, maybe you really want to know what's happening in biotechnology or health and exercise science, that's also what tonight is not about. So I'd recommend you attend one of our college sessions. And my colleague, April Lynch, who's behind the scenes, who's going to be answering some of your questions, will be able to put into the chat a link to our webpage that has all of the virtual opportunities for you to register for. So those sessions, both the university and those individual college sessions, or where you can get some of those specifics and general information about Syracuse answered. Tonight is just going to be about opportunities for pre-health. And we're going to define what pre-health is on that next slide. So Syracuse University has great opportunities for students who are looking to go into the healthcare fields. That might be medicine, but it could also be dentistry. It could be physical therapy. It could be veterinary science, right? We see students go into being a physician's assistant as well. But there's not one set major that you have to have at Syracuse. Any major can be a great preparation for you as you're looking to go into those pre-professional studies. And so that's something, as you're thinking about Syracuse, maybe you're thinking about medical school, dental school, you do not have to be a biology major. Right? If you are really passionate about women and gender studies, you could be a women and gender studies major and still be able to take the classes you need to prepare for medical school, for dental school, for PA, right? So there's not one set major. And in fact, if you're looking at a school that does advertise a pre-med major, it may not actually be the best preparation for you. So that's just something to keep in mind. We want to make sure that you're taking advantage of that liberal arts core that Syracuse has to offer you. That gives you a chance to experience a full curriculum. And on that note, you do not have to major in the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm joined tonight by my colleague, Megan Daly, and we'll be hearing from her in a few moments. She's based in the College of Arts and Sciences, but she works with students all across the university. So if you want to be studying business, maybe you want to open up your own dental practice, right? So you want to be a business major going to dental school. That is definitely an option. So you could major in business and still take those classes you need to prepare for the dental programs. And so in addition to these academic offerings in terms of majors, there's a lot of great resources available to you as well, which is on that next slide. So we have fantastic opportunities for research here at Syracuse. We are a Research One institution, which is the highest ranking given to a college or institution in the United States. I always like to equate that to Division I in athletics. It's that top tier with great funding, opportunities, and resources. And something that's incredibly unique about Syracuse is one of our offices focused on undergraduate research. Research is not just limited to faculty and graduate students. We are really passionate about giving opportunities for undergraduate students. And that's through an office called The Source, the Syracuse Office of Undergraduate Research and Creative Engagement. With $1.5 million annually behind this office, they are helping students find opportunities for research that already exist on campus to connect with faculty who might be doing work that they're interested in, but to also bring their own ideas of research to life. So if there's something you're really passionate about that maybe isn't happening with a faculty member yet, you can be able to get connected with one with mentorship to actually get funding for the work that you're looking to do in research. And there's also opportunities to find research that's happening outside of Syracuse as well through this office. And so it's a great starting point as you're thinking about those opportunities related to healthcare research, or also just other interests that you may have in terms of community, public health, right? This is a fantastic resource for you at Syracuse. But there are also 30 plus existing research centers that you can be a part of. The Gebbie Clinic is one of my favorite ones. For some of you who are thinking about going into audiology or speech language pathology, the Gebbie Clinic is doing some fantastic work with the local community in those fields. And even as an undergraduate student studying communication sciences and disorders, you can do research with the Gebbie Clinic, right? And that's just one of those great examples. The Biomaterials Institute and our College of Engineering and Computer Science, our Human Performance Laboratory in the Falk College of Sport and Human Dynamics. These centers are doing some cutting edge research that undergraduate students are a part of. So there's great opportunities for research on campus, but there's great opportunities for you to get involved with clubs and organizations as well, which is on that next slide. And so you can have fantastic experiences while you're at Syracuse in your classroom, in research, but often you're getting your best experiences and the best networking through those clubs and organizations that add to your time at Syracuse as a student. And we have over 350 student organizations. So if you are passionate about journalism, but still want to go into medical school, you could write for the #1 college newspaper in the country, the Daily Orange. Maybe you want to be a part of the marching band because you play a mean bassoon, right? You can still pursue those opportunities. But there are also clubs and organizations focused on the healthcare industry and field. Syracuse University Ambulance is a student-run ambulance on our campus. Again, you don't have to be a biology major. You don't even have to be a part of pre-health advising to be a part of the Syracuse University Ambulance. I'm an alum of Syracuse. One of my best friends in college was majoring in policy studies and was a supervisor for the ambulance because that was just something he was passionate about. And it's a really great way if you are thinking of going to medical school to get some of that clinical experience that Megan's going to be talking about soon. In addition to those organizations, we have the Global Medical Brigades, our Society for Public Health Education, Engineering World Health. Engineering World Health and Global Medical Brigades are doing a lot of work outside of Syracuse, outside of even the United States. And so there's great chances for you to really get some global experiences as well. In addition to those opportunities to get involved with clubs, we have living learning communities, which give you a chance to live with somebody who has a similar interest or major. So if you want to live with other students who are passionate about healthcare, our Health Study Living Learning Community could be a great fit for you. There is no required real major besides being interested in health studies, and you will work with the Office of Pre-Health Advising. With the Health Studies LLC, it's a great way to join if you're thinking of going into that area. But if maybe you're like, I'm just really interested in STEM, I'm not sure if I'm going full healthcare just yet, science, technology, math, engineering, computer science, which does require you being in the College of Engineering and Computer Science, are great opportunities to live with students who are also going to be in that Calc 1 course. We're going to be taking Chem 106 with you and, be there in lab as you're trying to figure out how to be able to separate elements, right? And so these are great opportunities to build those connections, to be able to build those relationships that are going to help support you as you take more advanced classes throughout your time at Syracuse. I talked a little bit about global experiences, and that next slide is going to talk a little bit more about some of those opportunities outside of Syracuse. But I want to talk a little bit about what's happening in the city as well. We have 4 hospitals. 3 of them are actually in walking distance of campus. Those are great opportunities for you to be able to engage, even if you're not majoring in biology or deciding you end up not going pre-health. You can still work and connect with one of those hospitals, take some great classes and lectures to be able to hear from some fantastic faculty who are visiting. We do have a teaching hospital, Upstate Medical University, which we'll talk more about in a few minutes. If you're thinking going as a vet in your future, the zoo is about 15 minutes away from campus. Again, a lot of great opportunities to intern, to connect with the zoo. There are visiting speakers, there's community health centers, a lot of great scholarly opportunities all across the city. There is a city of resources, a campus of resources there to help you as you're thinking about your next steps after you graduate from Syracuse to go into the medical field. So there's a great foundation at the undergraduate level. But for many of you, you're already thinking beyond that. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight with Megan Daly, our Director of Pre-Health Advising, who's going to come on and share a little bit more about those resources. One thing I sort of want to get out of the way to begin. Many of you are familiar with SUNY Upstate Medical University's partnership with Syracuse. We are going to be talking about that tonight. But if you have specifics about that major, right, or that program, excuse me, definitely email our office, the College of Arts and Sciences, about those nitty-gritty questions. Tonight, we're going to talk broadly. We aren't going to be able to get specifics about what exactly you might need for X or Y, but we're going to sort of talk a little bit more about what those early assurance programs are. But those unique questions you may have, email us later. We're happy to answer those after tonight. But I do want to turn things over to Megan Daly to talk a little bit more about the fantastic work being done in the Office of Pre-Health Advising.
Yes, thank you, Michael. So as Michael said earlier, our office is tasked with assisting all students at Syracuse, all undergraduate students who are interested in a type of pre-health career. That includes a lot of avenues of pre-health. Our biggest population on campus is obviously our pre-med. We have a lot of students interested in pursuing medical school, but dentistry, vet med, veterinary medicine, physician's assistant are also large groups of student interest, and nursing as well. So talking with students about opportunities after they might be finishing their bachelor's at Syracuse. So our office, doesn't matter what college you're in, doesn't matter what major you are, we are here to support and assist you. So like I said, our mission is to provide information and resources so that students can make educated decisions regarding their pre-health journey. And it really is a journey. It is windy. It comes with some bumps along the way sometimes, and that's really my office is here to help and support students. We love to share data and information. We like to help educate you about what you need, about the different tracks, about each career. We help students discover new careers that they didn't even know existed. But that's what we do. We have built up all of our resources to help share and educate with students, but we also help prepare students. So we want to make sure that you're a competitive applicant for your chosen pathway. And so we have a lot of information about experiences like Michael was talking about. I'm going to go into those a little bit more in depth. And then we assist with the actual application process. So when it is time for you to get ready to fill out that primary application, get ready to hit the submit button, our office is here to help and assist with that as well. So like I said, education is a big piece of what we do. We come from a model of competency-based advising, and we use the Association of American Medical Colleges core competencies. You can Google that and see all 17 core competencies, and that's how we frame the work that we do with students. Is what experiences are you having on campus, off campus, during the school year, during the summer, to build up your competencies, to demonstrate to medical schools, dental schools, what have you, at time of application that you are ready, prepared, and ready to apply. A lot of the work we do is based around understanding the prerequisite courses you might need to take while you're in undergrad. And like Michael said earlier, there is no specific major. We are here to support what your academic interest is and help work in those prerequisites. So there are definitely majors that naturally align with a lot of the required prerequisite coursework, like biology. It's a common one. A lot of the bio classes that you would take are going to align just naturally with those prereqs. But if that's not what you're truly passionate, you don't want to take 60 credits worth of biology coursework, that's okay. Let us help build a plan for you that individualized for you to map out all 4 years of coursework and get those prereqs you need for your chosen path. We have a ton of resource advising guides. So like I was saying earlier, we have built up kind of this catalog of health careers and what you would need to know for that, to pursue that health career. And so it's just a really helpful kind of 2-page document to walk through and understand, okay, this is what I need to take. Here's some important links and associations I need to be familiar with. But it's all about educating you about your options. We have our website, which you can access now, which has some of that information on it. And we do a bi-monthly newsletter, which is full of events coming up, and it's how we communicate with our students. So getting on our newsletter, if you choose to come to Syracuse, is probably my #1 pro tip if you want to be pre-health. We also have a Blackboard organization. So maybe in high school, you're familiar with a learning platform that your high school uses. At Syracuse, we use Blackboard. But there, if you are a pre-health interested student, we put you in a Blackboard organization with access to behind the scenes resources and information. Things like our action plan, which help you map out your 4 years and help you start thinking through your application process. But our Blackboard group, our Blackboard organization is very dynamic and constantly growing. We also have other institutions, graduate institutions, who want to recruit Syracuse University. They come in and I have a series I've done where I've interviewed them, and we post those so they're on demand for you. So you can go and see our catalog of different graduate school options and just kind of get a little teaser of what they're looking for in students for their master's or doctoral programs. And I think that's a really interesting and newer type of resource that a lot of other schools aren't necessarily doing. Another amazing program I definitely want to make sure that I talk about is our Orange to Upstate program. Orange to Upstate is a mentoring program that we do with medical students at SUNY Upstate, which is right across the street from Syracuse University. We partner undergraduate students with an M1, M2, or M3 over at Upstate, and that mentoring relationship lasts for a year. So it's just a great opportunity to hear from people who are in med school. They were not too far removed from where you are as an undergraduate student, and they answer questions. They talk to you about the day in the life of what it's like to be medical student. But we, again, the one of the benefits of this is we run this program every year. So you can participate as a freshman, as a sophomore, as a junior, and get matched with a different mentor every year and kind of get a new perspective and start working on growing your network and learning from others. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And then, as I said, we have lots of pre-health events. One of our biggest events is our orientation that we do for new students when they come onto campus in August. It's always very popular, well attended. It's your first introduction to meet me, and then my assistant director in our office. It's just the two of us, but we start talking about getting involved and what you need to do your freshman year to be a successful student. So we have about 1,200 students at Syracuse University who identify as pre-health, which I think is a very healthy and robust number. It's definitely a community that students want to help and support each other and learn from each other. And our office tries to cultivate one in which you're going to come in and we're going to start telling you all the resources that you need right away. Like I said before, another step in our office is the preparation piece. And this really hits on to what Michael was talking about, preparing for medical school, dental school, vet med, physician's assistant. We know the importance of clinical experience, community engagement and leadership, service, and research. And so we connect students to all of those various opportunities that exist at Syracuse. We also work really hard to make sure you're maximizing your time in your summer. And so we work one-on-one with students to figure out and research kind of opportunities that exist both at Syracuse and maybe back home. So being connected to the various hospitals or clinics that are in your community, how can we help you find opportunities there as well? Very important. Community service is another piece that I think is really important to touch on. Just like how you have an interest academically with maybe a different type of major that's not a typical pre-med major, community service is one of those things where you can really shine and highlight your personal interests and passion. Ultimately, all of the students I work with as pre-health students are entering a service career. You have to have a really strong service orientation. You want to express how much you want to help people. And one of the best ways to demonstrate this is through community service. So at Syracuse, we have the Shaw Center, which helps match students with opportunities both on and off campus to participate in community service. And they do a really good job of making sure that whatever it is you are interested in and passionate about, that you're matched with. And that's what medical school wants to see. They don't want to see robots. That's why I have a nice picture of a robot here. They really want students who are able to demonstrate how they've grown, how they've developed through their own personal passions. They want students who are different, who've done different things. There is no one pathway to medicine. All roads lead to pre-health. And so I strongly believe that through community engagement and through community service, you can really stand out and highlight your own interests and how those connect with wanting to pursue a health career. And we're happy to help students navigate that space as well. And then, like I said, we also assist students with the application piece. So this looks like our committee evaluation process. We provide a committee letter for students who are pursuing medical, dental, podiatric, and optometry school. A committee letter is a composite letter, kind of a stamp of approval, if you will, from Syracuse University as a whole, but my office administers that process for students. We work with undergrads and recent alumni from Syracuse University. So there's a trend in gap year time when students graduate and then when they apply to school. So we work with recent alum to help make sure that they are still prepared and ready to go for medical school. But our committee evaluation process, it's really holistically focused. We spend between 4 and 8 hours individually writing letters for each student who participates in the process that is focused on your personal strengths, highlights, and experiences that these medical schools read. And I know my part of my job is to work to build relationships with various admissions offices from lots of different from lots of different health professions graduate programs. And I get feedback on my committee letter and how much they enjoy reading it, how much it helps them contextualize our students' experiences at Syracuse. And so it's just, I think, a really big highlight. We're one of lots of schools are getting rid of their committee letter process because they have such large pre-health communities that they can't necessarily facilitate an individualized committee letter. And while our community is, like I said, about 1,100, 1,200 students, we are still in a place where we can individually provide this service. And I think that it just makes us stand out, makes our students stand out in their admissions processes. But we also offer assistance. I work all summer. My office is open all summer because that's when applications are up and going and students are working and applying. And so we provide one-on-one consultation and support for students throughout their entire application process for any different pre-health program. We do a lot of personal statement feedback. I do mock interviews. I spend a lot of my fall in mock interview season for my med students. It's been very active fall for me. And then we just, again, holistic counseling throughout the entire application cycle. You are never alone. A lot of the students I work with are students, they're the first in their family to be interested in medicine, first in their family to even apply to medical school. And so, we're here to help you. It's my job, my office's job to understand all of the ins and outs of this kind of what can be a confusing process, and we want to help make it easy for you. I'm just going to talk a little bit. I know the next couple of slides are really language, like verbiage heavy, lots of words. All of this information is on the pre-health advising website under our early assurance programs. We have 3 programs total. They all kind of have different entry points. Albany Medical College, our affiliation with that program, this is a matriculated student. So you are a Syracuse University student. You are in your sophomore year, and you are applying for an early acceptance to Albany. So this, you apply in between the end of your sophomore, beginning of your junior year of college. We walk you through the process. We are really intentional with students about this process. You need to raise your hand and say, when you get here, and say that you are interested. We will get you on our radar and make sure that we are advising you appropriately. They do have some requirements as far as what their GPA needs to be, or your GPA needs to be. We also, that you'll see on here, a BCPM GPA. That means your biology, chemistry, physics, and math. So we pull those classes out separate and calculate a separate GPA. But it needs to be, you need to be at a 3.5 range. You do need to have taken the SAT or ACT to be eligible for this program. But if you are accepted, you don't have to take an MCAT, which is nice. So the early acceptance program, this is binding. You are committed to going to Albany if you are accepted. And again, it's an opportunity just to apply to a medical school early and kind of get a start on it, I guess, if you feel that you are committed to wanting to stay in New York and stay in Albany. Great opportunity. It's always a small cohort, so you can guarantee that your application is getting a thorough look at from the admissions committee at Albany. And I think that that's a great advantage, as well as not having to then take the MCAT in your junior or senior year. So that's kind of the benefit of the early decision. We also have a program with Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine. This is for osteopathic medicine, so a DO. We also have agreements with them for dentistry and pharmacy. This program is open to both high school. It's open to high school students. So if you're a senior in high school, you can apply to this early assurance program. But we also have it open all the way to your sophomore year at Syracuse. So maybe you don't want to apply right now. Maybe you want to think about it a little bit more. And then you get here and you do want to apply. You still have the opportunity to do that. So it's about the same timeline, like I said, as the Albany program, where you're in your sophomore year. Metrics here, you do need the SAT or the ACT. They look at your high school GPA, but then they will also look at where you are, how your grades are so far at Syracuse. You have an interview with them as well. But there, again, more specifics on our website about that program and all the entry points. Then, as Michael mentioned earlier, our early assurance program with SUNY Upstate. This is open to high school applicants only. Your materials, including your transcript and test scores, need to be submitted by December 1st through the Common App. We provide my office does an initial review, as well as the team in the College of Arts and Sciences admissions office. If we recommend your application, then we reach out to you, and your materials go to Upstate, and you have to pay an application fee to Upstate. But then they decide who they want to interview and who they want for admissions. So the application requirements are right here. You do need the SAT or the ACT. You need to have a high school GPA of a 3.5 or better. As far as what else is being looked for, we are looking for demonstrated extensive long-term experience in a healthcare setting. So that can look like a myriad of things: shadowing, volunteering in a hospital, research that's healthcare oriented, and just any kind of experience that's demonstrating an interest and understanding of medicine. There's no requirements for residency. This is also a binding program. So if you are accepted, you are bound to go to SUNY Upstate if you participate. I did want to touch on study abroad. Study abroad is huge at Syracuse University. I feel like every fall is bustling with students talking about study abroad. Exciting opportunity coming up this fall of 2024. For the first time, we are offering a program that will run in Madrid that will have give students the opportunity to take organic chemistry. This is huge. Study abroad can be somewhat of a challenge sometimes for pre-health students because the lab courses that are prerequisites are very sequenced, meaning fall and spring and fall and spring. And if you miss a fall, then you're kind of set back. But the way that this program is set up, you don't lose any time. And I think that that is an amazing opportunity. It's based in our Syracuse Center in Madrid. It also has an opportunity for students to take cell biology, which is a class that you would typically take your sophomore year in the fall. So we've pre-built your fall schedule for you, and you have just a great opportunity to continue that pace, keep on your timeline with this program. But you are not limited to this at Syracuse. We have so many opportunities to study abroad, lots of different classes that you can take, different places you can go. But I am work a lot with our students who want to work study abroad into their plan and as part of their pre-health journey. And our office is happy to do that and support that for students. I just want to run through some of the data real quick for students who might be just interested. These are all national numbers. This is information you can find. But I want to contextualize it in a way that our Syracuse, we meet all the national averages for acceptance rates across all the health professions. Students can increase their chances of attending medical school, dental school, vet med, physician's assistants when they work with our office. So I have data that shows me students that do our committee letter, participate in our committee letter process, seek out pre-health advising, fare better in the admissions process than Syracuse students who don't. So just to kind of look through this, the mean age of a first-year med student is 24. That information is telling me that students are taking gap time, and this is a national trend. So our office works to help plan out your timeline, whether that be a traditional timeline applying at the end of your junior year, or maybe that timeline is a little more catered to your need, and we're working in experiences and opportunities in your senior year or even after graduation. So averages, again, just mean GPA of a 3.75, science GPA of a 3.6, MCAT average of a 511 out of a scale of 528 to 472. National acceptance rate's 41%, and that is a little bit lower if your metrics are lower. And so holistic admissions is the process and what we talk about in regard to pre-health advising, that you need to be the whole total package. And part of that package is standardized test scores for admissions tests for your health profession and your GPA metrics. And this is just for osteopathic medicine. The averages are a little bit lower. The mean GPA and the MCAT score are lower than MD or allopathic medicine, but it's a 35% acceptance rate. DO is definitely not a backup plan for students. You have to want to be interested in osteopathic medicine. If you are unsure of what osteopathic medicine is, my office will teach you all about it and help you really understand that pathway, what that career is all about, what the opportunities are there, what the philosophy behind osteopathic medicine is, and just help make sure that you're a competitive applicant if that's the route you choose to go. And then just for fun, dental, the 2023 dental numbers, 3.61, 3.54 with a 20.8 academic average on the DAT. So that's just a little bit about national data, national trends. It's my job to stay up on all of that. I work to make sure I understand the landscape that my students are going to be competitive in, and provide, again, that information in the education piece of what I do with Educate, Prepare, and Apply. I want to educate you so you know what are the norms, what are the trends, how do I need to stand out, what do I need to do to be prepared. Again, my job to help understand all of that, break it down for you, individualize it for your need, and make sure that you are the best applicant that you can be at time of application. Where do our students go? So here's just a list. Really, our students go lots of places. This list, I have to cut it down at some point. It could be much, much longer, especially if I'm looking longitudinally at my data from the last 3 years. I have just a wide variety of schools and locations. Syracuse has just a rich diversity of students from various states, various countries and locations. So that provides a unique and interesting landscape for our graduate admissions acceptances and where our students go. So it's my job to make sure I know a lot about a lot of different states, have a lot of different relationships with a lot of different graduate programs. But if you are looking for a more comprehensive list, I'm happy to share that, once you get on campus. So just, again, we're here to help. My office is here to support you. I cannot emphasize that enough, how much we love to individualize students' plans, work with students to make sure that you have the most information, the correct information that you need, so that you can have a successful pathway, and a successful pre-health journey, if you will.
Thank you, Megan. I want to thank you so much for sharing so much about the Office of Pre-Health Advising and what students can look forward to if they are admitted to Syracuse and work with your office while they're here. I know we've had some great questions that come through, and I'll give some space for any additional questions, but I do want to touch on a couple application pieces as we're looking at Syracuse. So many of you tonight are seniors in high school. You're looking to apply and to attend Syracuse in your future. The early decision deadline is actually tomorrow, November 15th. That is early decision 1. Early decision 2, that deadline is January 5th, and regular decision is January 5th as well. Any major, as Megan mentioned, is available to you if you're looking to be a part of pre-health advising. If you are looking specifically at some of those early assurance programs, as noted, the deadline for the SUNY Upstate Medical University Upstate Accelerated Scholars Program is December 1st. To apply to that program, you are applying to Syracuse University on the common application or the coalition application and selecting the respective box about the Upstate Accelerated Scholars Program on that application. And that is what pulls you into the pool to be considered for that early assurance program. As noted, test scores are required for that program. So while Syracuse University is test optional, that program is not. So you do want to make sure that you are submitting test scores. We accept both self-reported and official. And if you've taken the SAT or the ACT multiple times, we will superscore to give you your highest possible average. If you are chosen to move forward to the next round, we'll let you know probably in late December. Even if we're not able to move you forward with SUNY Upstate Medical University Upstate Accelerated Scholars Program, or UAS, you can still be considered for Syracuse, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. It is a very small pool of students who are part of that UAS program and cohort. You could still be pre-health even if you're not admitted to that program. With UAS, there are 2 options, a 3+4, a 4+4. That 3+4 is a Bachelor of Arts in Biology. So that's the only major that is required for any of those programs. The 4+4 can be any majors. Lake Erie College of Medicine, it is different in terms of that process. So you have to apply to Syracuse and to LECOM. So that's something to keep in mind. You're not selecting on the Common or Coalition app, LECOM. You have to apply to them. I know April has put information about that program in the chat. Make sure you are connecting if you have questions. Megan's office, our office, the College of Arts and Sciences can help you connect with Lake Erie to find that application process. And again, test scores are also required for that. So I know some great questions come through. Megan, the first one I want to ask is, somebody was talking about minors with being pre-health minded. What are some of those common minors that you see students are doing while they're pursuing a future in medicine or dentistry?
That's a great question. Minors is again a place where I think a lot of students find a passion project or find something that they're truly interested in. So, while you can major in anything, I think a common major ends up being, biochem, chemistry, psychology are our common majors. But minors are where my students get very creative. I was just working with one of my seniors. Absolutely adore her. She is getting ready to apply to medical school this coming summer, and I'm so excited for her application. But she is this classic civilization minor. Didn't even know we had it until she came across my advising caseload, and then I learned all about it and worked with her. She has met wonderful faculty in that minor. She has a true passion and interest in classics. And so minors can be a lot of different things. We have students that will do majors in the College of Arts and Science and maybe a minor in Falk, our College of, Michael, help me out here, Sports and Human Dynamics. Yeah. So minors are where you can get really creative. It can be something that's maybe more of a humanities or a social science or in another college. It can be in the iSchool. I have students who are really interested in data and data analytics and how that might partner and match with medicine and research. So minors there are tons of them, and we're here to help you understand what your options are and pick the one that you're most interested in. Business, Whitman minors are huge for my students. A lot of students, like you were saying earlier, Michael, who maybe want to open their own practice and want that business knowledge, want that background, so they feel a little more confident going into that process. They'll do something within Whitman and have that as an option.
Yeah, thank you. A question came in, and I know we were talking about before about the success rate for students going into medical school. And there was something I just wanted you to mention again about the difference of a student applying from Syracuse versus somebody with your office.
Yeah. So when, our office, anybody can apply to medical school. Our office is not a gatekeeping office. I can't say, yes, apply. No, don't apply. I'm really here to support. So when we look at our data, and we look at every student that has applied, who graduated from Syracuse and applied to a medical school in a certain cycle, our average is part of the national average. The national average is 40%. At our point, our average is 38%. So we're on par with national average. When you start to parse that data out a little bit, students who work with our office go through the committee letter process, have the support provided by our office, and the advice that our office gives about timing of the application and those sorts of things, that rate goes up. So students who scored between a 3.5 and a 3.7 GPA, that was their GPA, and had a MCAT score between a 508 and a 510, and worked with our office, had a 72.5% rate of admission into medical school. So, that's a number I'm really proud of. I think it shows not only the hard work my office does, but the hard work of our students and kind of the collaborative effort that we all are putting in to a student's application process. Dentistry, I would like to say, dentistry, we have a 62.5% average, and that is out of everybody that applied, right? That's not me even really parsing out the data too much. 62.5% of the students that applied to dental school. And I'm just floored. I think that's amazing. We have our dental community is smaller than our pre-med community, but they are strong. They are passionate. They are very diligent about their application preparedness. They're great. I love those students.
I don't think somebody just wakes up one day and decides they be a dentist.
A dentist, no. No,
definitely that makes sense to me.
No, I feel that way about podiatry as well. I don't feel like people with feet. You have to have this really kind of passion for serving folks in that way. And podiatry, I've learned so much just about the care that those physicians provide for all kinds of patients, either dealing with the complications from diabetes or for foot injuries. I could go on, but I won't.
We have a couple application specific questions. One was, are students required to choose only one medical school through the common application for the EAP? And yes, so as of right now, the early assurance program through the common application and the coalition application that you are indicating an interest in is SUNY Upstate Medical University. The Lake Erie College of Medicine has a separate application outside of the common or coalition application. And then Albany College is handled once you're at Syracuse. So that's not something you worry about now as a high school senior. But as far as the application is concerned, SUNY Upstate Medical University, selecting that on the common or coalition app, Lake Erie, applying to Syracuse, and then submitting that inquiry form to Lake Erie College of Medicine. And I know another question came through about advantage to taking any specific major if they are moved forward with the SUNY Upstate Medical Program.
No sort of advantage of picking any particular major. SUNY Upstate requires certain coursework to be completed if you are part of that program, but that mirrors and matches the typical prerequisite coursework that just any pre-med student would be taking. And therefore, the world is your oyster when coming to choose major. The only caveat to that is the 3+4 program, like Michael was talking about earlier. If you want to do 3 years undergrad and then your medical program as part of SUNY Upstate, then it has to be a bachelor's of arts in biology. That is a requirement of the program.
Another question came in about the timing. And as I mentioned, the deadline for the Upstate Accelerated Scholars is December 1st. We try to give a really quick turnaround as much as possible to let you know by the end of December whether or not you're moving forward with the process or not. As I mentioned, if you are moving forward, there's next steps that will happen throughout January. If you are not moving forward, you're still being considered for admission for Syracuse. And we will begin notifying students of regular decision in late March. So that's ultimately when you receive your decision for Syracuse. And usually you'll be hearing from SUNY Upstate at that same time. So I know we've been talking a lot about those early assurance programs related to medicine or DO, but we also have another early assurance program with SUNY Upstate Medical about DPT, and that's with our doctorate of physical therapy. Megan, do you work with students who are thinking about heading into that field as well?
I do. PT, OT, occupational therapy, a lot of students who are interested in OT as well. But yes, when we talk pre-health, we are talking all kinds of folks, all kinds of health careers, health pathways, and assisting anybody who's like, I think I want to work with people in a healthcare setting. Maybe the only caveat to that would be like the healthcare administration side. Ours, the advising we do is you need to go on to get a doctoral or master's degree in order to do your health profession.
And so a question for students who are thinking about that 3+3,
yeah.
You're applying to Syracuse University, and similar to Lake Erie College of Medicine, you're applying to SUNY Upstate Medical University. And April hopefully can put that in the chat, that 3+3 DPT. Again, test scores are required for that. And part of this though, and Megan, I don't know if you want to talk about it, why are we requiring test scores from high school seniors now as opposed to maybe later on?
Yeah, so for the early assurance piece, right, you're having to take a graduate admissions exam, and that can vary per program. So for medical school, you typically would take the MCAT, and for dentistry, you take something called the DAT, the dental admissions test. For pharmacy, you take something called the PCAT, and so you're not prepared for that yet as a high school student, because all of those exams are based off college content, course content that you'd take once you're in college. And so just as part of the admissions process, those test scores are a big piece of what those programs look at. A lot of that's because you have to take a board exam to become a licensed physician, become a licensed PT, to become a physician's assistant. And so it's just part of the application process, making sure that you're a standout candidate, that you'll be able to do those, to pass those exams later on in the future when you have to sit and take them. So that's all a part of the admissions process. And for for example, for LECOM in Albany, they waive that MCAT for you. And so we're replacing that sort of with this SAT, ACT score.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much, Megan, for sharing your invaluable experience and knowledge as you're working with students who are going into some amazing fields and careers and colleges after they graduate from Syracuse. As you have questions about applying to Syracuse in general, feel free to reach out to us at orange@syr.edu. If you have specific questions about the Office of Pre-Health Advising, the contact information is on the screen. Also, our colleagues in the College of Arts and Sciences are happy to answer specific questions about that early assurance program with SUNY Upstate Medical University. But I want to thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We are really excited to share more about the university with you. Feel free to reach out to us and have a great rest of your day, and go Orange. Thank you all.